And, you know, I think anytime you have a LACIFRIEND here, it's going to be a great meeting. So I'm really excited about this training. I got to kind of see a sample of this down in Wichita. And, you know, if you're going to get training from anybody, you might as well be the top earner of the company, right?
Right.
So let me get out of the way as soon as possible. Let's get Miss LACIFRIEND up here. Give her a big round of applause. Yeah, that was
Wow.
Were you not paying attention, Dusty? Or
I was
what?
like, I don't know who's sample. Where do I stand?
I was working on a projector.
Where's that camera gonna look?
Right, probably up your nose or something.
Oh, that is not a good angle.
You're on about a like 5-second delay. See? There you go.
Wait till I do the next one. Because I make a fat face right there. Wait for it.
It's coming, it's coming.
Here it comes. Oh, that's really weird. I'm going to be distracted today. That's different than usual. Okay.
All right, let me get back to this one.
So I totally forgot what you wanted me to talk about since there's just a sample of it in Wichita. Thought this was a keychain. This is actually a flash drive, jump drive. You plug it into your little computer and it's going to pop up with these incredible resources. Now, many of the resources we've made, or AKA Danielle made, and we all get to benefit from. One of the Zing twins, if you've seen them, identical twins. Some of my very best friends love them to death. Anyway, we made all of these awesome things for you to use, but then you're going to see a ton of them that are out there already. But the point is, they're all right here on one little thing. Okay, so you're going to see a lot of things from, you guys checked out amazingdesigns.com and zing-1.com. You can write those down if you haven't. Amazing is spelled A-M-A-X-Y-N-G. Do you know my phone autocorrects to that now? I started to put it in and I actually want to tell someone like regular amazing and it goes to amazing. Anyway, so Amazing Designs with an S, anyone with me? If it's not the S, try it with and without, I can't remember. Amazing Design or Amazing Designs? It's plural. Okay, I think so too. .com, and then she has a website called Zing, and then the hash or dash or whatever, O-N-E, spelled out, .com. Zing-1.com. On Zing-1.com, it's a lot like Crazy for Zing. You guys are familiar with Crazy for Zing. We've had that one around for quite a while. Carrie and I did that one a long time ago just because we wanted a place everybody could go and just check out the videos. So Zing-1 is just like that. It also has a button for customer resources like we have on Crazy for Zing and also a team resources. But she is incredible with the artwork that she does. Incredible. And so there are some amazing, the 8-day, you know how we have the vegan, the vegetarian, all of that. She has all of those, but they're real fancy and nice and actually spell out that you need 2 action and 2 cheap plus. You know how people ask these questions all the time? And on the corporate one, oh my gosh, I'm actually warm enough to take my coat off. I can stay awake now. I can stay awake. Anyway, it might change here in a minute. I'll have a hot flash and then I'll be with my phone on again. Anyway, it's all spelled out there. So those are some that I print, use, and send out as well. And the point being, we took resources from all of these places. You might see something you made on this flash drive actually, but we tried to separate it in all of these areas so that you could quickly put it on your computer and get to a resource without having to go look through Facebook or go to the main website and find it. Make sense? The other beautiful thing about this flash drive is every new person that you get started in our company, you could give them a flash drive or ask them to give you a flash drive, plug it in, drag it over, pop it on. Make sense? One of the things that Dusty is going to have to be good at, and LACIFRIEND's going to have to be good at, and whoever else that runs some of these team pages is now when we find new resources, we can put on there in all caps, add this to your folder. And then you can go put it in your folder. So now when you're trying to locate things, or you'll see a great picture, you'll see something on Facebook, and you save it somewhere. I don't know, I'm terrible at this organization thing, but you go to save it somewhere, and then a month goes by, and you're like, where's that picture? Where's that form I had about Y supplements? Where's this thing? Well, now it's all broken down for you, okay? So you can give them to new people as they join us, and they'll have everything that they need right from the start. So that's all the points to why we put one together. Hopefully we'll all be really good about, oh my gosh, here's a new document that someone made, put this in your flash drive, then you can just drag it over there and you're always going to have it on your desk. You can put the whole thing on your desktop too and on your flash drive so you can have it with you when you travel around and also just at home. So with that, we'll go through it really quickly, and I'm going to have to almost remind myself, but go ahead and click on that. But this was just if you like that little X symbol and you can use it on your phone or on your notebooks or whatever. You can see I really took a lot of time to print mine. Whoops. But you can do that and start carrying and keeping things. Oh my gosh. Now what are we going to do? My brain is on the floor.
It's not all that rough. I do have.
So we'll go back just to
That's because I have a
Okay, so we put these different folders together in different categories, you can see, but business resources, you can click on those, and then you'll find even more folders that you can click into prospecting. And in prospecting, you're going to find all of these things like creating your list, and you guys do this as well, right? Like 611 and all that good stuff?
Can you click on that?
Sure. So everything you go into, this is going to help your people. How do I go ahead and create a list? How do I develop my warm market? You know, talking about how we don't judge people and say, oh, they don't need to lose weight or they would never be interested. They're already very successful in what they do. So it goes through that. It has the memory jogger in it as well, giving you, and then person of interest. You're going to see some things that pop up later. We have a little system where person of interest is literally just taking that memory jogger and writing every human being you can think of. Not judging anyone. You haven't talked to any of these people. Okay? It's just, and you could keep this list going at all times. Because you know how you'll run into the store and you'll see someone and think when you walk out, oh, I never thought of them. If you have that list, you can, I put it actually in my phone and go home and add it to my list, and that way, anytime I'm thinking there's no one else to talk to, what am I going to do? I could go to this list, okay? So that's that one. I love this one. We just made this one up last week. So sometimes, we think that we need to tell people 1,000 things how to get started. Did you guys somewhat feel overwhelmed a little bit when you started? You know, you're thinking, I have no idea, I don't know how to do this, what do I even do? And then someone does ask you or like something and you click out, you're not really sure what you're supposed to do once they like something. And then you're like, oh, I remember calling Callie, like, I have no idea what to do now. Somebody just liked my post or asked me a question. So we tried to make up a sheet, and I've been handing this out even at our events lately and said, this is how easy this is. I mean, literally, all you are going to do is share. And that's what we're all about, sharing your story, right? You're going to share with everyone, whether it's Facebook or whatever, using a tool. Just because you know a lot about the products, we were talking about this back there, it's for your confidence, not so you can wow someone with all of your information. Because they don't really remember all that. They feel sold if you're trying to tell them everything. Also, in the back of their mind, they would think, I could never do this. Because you know all this stuff I would never understand. Of course, they would learn it later, just like any other job, but at the moment, they're thinking it's overwhelming. So even if I know everything there is to know about every product, which is a great thing, and you should know everything about every product and learn and just be a student of it, because you're going to be able to help a lot of people when you know. You'll hear someone say, oh, my son's allergies are terrible, and because you learn about the anti-inflammatories in the juice and the zip sticks, you're going to be able to say, oh my gosh, have you ever heard of Zingular? It's really helped my friend's son. But if you don't know the knowledge, you won't even realize you have the answer to their problem. You have the gift to share. So it's good for you to know the knowledge. But number 2, use the tool. Send them to Crazy for Zing. I avoid telling people about it when they say, no, I haven't. What is it? I'm like, oh my gosh, just give me your Facebook. I'll grab my phone. I start putting them in, or a cell phone number, or something like that. And they will literally sometimes, I know, but what is it? I'm like, you know what? Let me just tell you this. You're going to want to see it on the video, because you're going to see a picture of the product, you're going to hear about what it is, and you'll remember it much better than if I sit right here and tell you about it. And so I will continue to not tell them about the product so that I can send them to a tool. I know that sounds weird, but when they sit down on their own and read it and watch it, they can absorb it, they can talk about it, and they don't feel pressure. Because you don't want them to put up a wall immediately and think, oh, she's trying to sell. Even though they just ask for the information, then immediately there's that switch in their mind that, oh, they just want to sell it to me. So if you can just send them to a tool where they're in the comfort of their own home, much easier, right? So we're sharing with everyone, we use a tool, and you change your life. That's it. That's what we do. It's that easy. And you get people on a 3-way call to connect them to someone else with a similar story, or a 3-way chat or whatever. I have kits on hand. That's a big thing that we do in Wichita, because, man, when someone does decide to do it, And I've literally, and I'm not a real pushy person, but there are people I know that so desperately need this. When I meet them, I'm walking in with the kit. And I said, I know you're going to think I'm crazy, but I know you're leaving with this today. And it just changes the set of the meeting because I care so much. I have it right here, and I'm ready to help you, and let's get started. And just getting them started on their journey. So the lead sheet. This is once you actually contact one of those people off that prospecting list. You move them to the lead sheet, right? Is this someone who's in this room? Awesome. So you put, all obviously is self-explanatory, but I love these check boxes because sometimes in the midst of it, you think you're going to remember everybody who's asked you on Facebook. You think you're going to remember those messages you sent, but there are 4,000 of them in your inbox. I have 26,000 unread emails right now, so if you ever email, you might want to text and let me know. So you don't remember that stuff. You just don't remember that stuff. So it's great to get their name transferred over here, and this is your active list that, have I shown them the video? Have we talked? Did we do a three-way? Did we get together? Did they come to an event? That 3rd, 4th, and 5th attempt. I have a story to tell you right now. This is going to be so like, hey, we're doing this, and I'm also going to just get on a rabbit trail, like all day long, so be prepared. On the way here, there they are. I was telling the girls, Nicole and Adele, all about how I just heard this story from Troy Alexander on the way to the airport yesterday. I've never heard. You all know who Kelly Harris is? Precious, just joy. Oh, I love her. I'm like, girl, I could just be your neighbor. I love her. She just has so much joy, and she's so precious. And I know her story or whatever. On the way to the airport, Troy starts telling me, because Kelly is his direct, he sponsored her. And I just said, now how did you know Kelly? I love knowing how people were your friends before. Did you meet her somewhere? And so he's like, well, it's an interesting story. My wife, Carrie, Troy's wife, Carrie, and Kelly's best friend, no, I just messed that up. Help me out. Troy's wife's sister was Kelly's best friend. Yes. Oh, well, just act like you understood that. And so they would be together even like when they were younger, and they met each other, so they knew each other and were good friends. So Troy decides to call Kelly and tell her about Singular just shortly after he got started. And he calls her and he tells her, and she literally says to him, are you kidding me? You called me because I'm fat. No, Kelly, no, I didn't. And he's like, Kelly, I just found this. I know I feel great. It's great for the health. It's great for the energy, and everything. And she says, no, I don't want anything to do with it. They hang up. 6 months later, he calls her again. Whoa. Like when he said that, I was like, really? Because I'm okay with the people who never answer me. I can go back and invite them to something. I'm okay with somebody who might be like, yeah, not right now. I can go back. Somebody who tells me no, in 3 years' time, I've never contacted them again. Because I felt like, hey, that was a firm no. They don't want anything to do with it. But he has the guts to call her back. So he calls her back the second time. And he's like, Kelly, I'm calling you again about this. I know that you didn't want to do this, but he tells her again, and she's like, Troy, I told you no. I don't want to do this. So they hang up again. He calls her back. I'm like, I'm sweating in the car as he's telling the story because I am like, you are kidding me. Like this is the Avon lady that you run from in the beginning. You shut the blinds and tell the kids, shh. Like you don't want to talk to her. He calls her a 3rd time 6 months later. So now we're 18 months out from the first phone call. And he's like, I know, Kelly, I tried one more time. And you know what? She signed up. And that was so powerful to me. But if I didn't have a way to track that, I would totally forget those people too because you're busy and stuff like that. But that's also just something that I thought, oh my gosh, I need to go back to those people who told me no and say, I am really not trying to be pushy, but after 3 years, it's still the biggest blessing that's ever happened to me, and I can't get you off my mind. And if you want to hate me for that, go ahead. But it took 3 times, firm no's the first 2 times, and now Kelly's an executive and just can't imagine. She's getting ready to retire from her nail business in another few weeks, and she does this full time, and it's the biggest blessing of her life, So I thought that was really cool. So the memory jogger is already from the other one there, and then the person. Go ahead, let's look at that person of interest. This is another one that you could use if you don't want to use the check boxes for everything. It has their name, number, and then you can just write notes over here. And then Danielle put a little, what do you call that? A little shorthand thing up there if you want to use that too. So some people like to check each of those boxes. Some people just want a place they can write in notes. So there are a couple different options in there for you on that one. So that's just that very first folder inside the business still. So let's go back again.
I gotta figure out how to do that. Here we go.
Come, Mr. Cool. Rank advancement slides. Okay, I'm serious. People are in your life for a reason. and I am the third, well, I guess there's quadruplets because Lindsay's part of this. But the Zing twins, Danielle is unreal with things like this, like making cool things. You can click on one. But if you have somebody promote, so there's every one of them for you, from manager, silver, gold, all the way through to platinum executive, which all of you can have as your cover page here real soon. So if you want to, put it on Facebook to congratulate someone, you literally have every single one of them in there, and they all look much like that.
Just had a new
Whoop,
start, by the way.
And if you guys ever have an idea for something, send it my way and we'll do it. Because I told you the other day, it would be fun to have one of those that just says something like, welcome to our team, or congratulations on getting started. So if you guys ever think of something, just Facebook me, but you have to call me a jerk in order to get it. Anyway, yesterday,
We all three did. But now she's
your friend request if you don't do it. Well, they were like, I'm sitting in your inbox for friend requests, and kind of like
For
the
like
30,
6 months.
right? Kind of like the 30,000 unread emails. I might have 400 Facebook friend requests that I've never checked, yes, no, or whatever. And so I told them, I said, you have to send me a private message and say, hey, jerk, why don't you friend me? And so they all did. So that's that one. We'll go back to the next thing. I'm going to get a lot more inboxes, I think, today. What was the title of that next folder there? You just quickly went by there? Oh, the opportunity. Yeah, okay. Sorry, thanks. So obviously, this is stuff you can send out to people. The comp plan, which came right off of the website, but now you don't have to type in the website, go to the downloads, go to this. You can just run right here. Passport program's there. This next one is a kind of a neat one that someone did, and guess what? Someone says to me, I'm so sorry, but why isn't there a silver, gold, and platinum executive thing on that sheet? I know, why not?
Right.
We're all shooting for the same thing, but this came from Amazing Designs. Do you see how she does that cool?
Yeah.
That's her. That's her. Anyway, that's kind of a neat one that just shows how much money you would make, how much volume that is, and extra rewards. But we need to get her to add the rest of those. So anyway, that's what that is. And then Extreme Builder. And I was in Peoria on Thursday night, and there was this little gal named Ashley there, and she had 1 day left and 2,000 points. And afterwards, she walked up and she's like, "Okay, help me. I've got 2,000 points left. I only have till tomorrow." And so we stood there for about 30 minutes and talked. And Kara was the first ever Extreme Builder, so I walked through that with her at the time. And I'm like, okay, we're going to make this thing on Facebook. You're going to tell people this. We're going to do it. And I know by tomorrow night you're going to be an executive, well, that too. But you're going to be an Extreme Builder. I said, let's take a picture, and then when you hit it, you post it on Facebook and send it to me. And she made it.
Awesome.
So anyway, that was really cool. So that's okay, so we're now to tips and training. Ta-da! So this one is a whole bunch of sheets that Danielle took and made look fancy that we used to just type on Word. That's how I roll. So she took it and made it good. So 3-way calls, you can send this to someone who's struggling with, oh my gosh, I don't know what to say on 3-way calls, I don't know how to do that. Talks about what you do before the call, on the call, if you're the leader on the call. Okay?
Awesome.
Closing the call. So there's that one. There's developing leaders. And if you have a new distributor, here's some things that you can have them get started on right away.
Awesome.
The diamond.
Do you guys do all these in Wichita? All these?
We didn't go through, like, do you want me to not go through them like this?
No, this is great.
Okay. We didn't go through, it was just a sample.
It was just a
The diamond guide actually just gives you all the phone calls that are going on and what days of the week that it's going on. So if you have somebody that's like, I'm confused, when is this call, when is that call? And maybe not all of them are on there. Once again, if there's something you would want added and you have, please tell us. That one's Amazing Design, so we can let her know. So just together we'll do a lot better.
Yeah, we could add our morning.
Yeah, I don't think you have yours on there, so let me know because we can talk to Nancy about adding it. Facebook tips, here's another one that Cynthia had made, and we just took off of Facebook and put on a cute sheet, and she kind of just goes through, here's what you say and don't say, singular, and other tips that you can, add to Facebook, posting personal stuff, in our house, we say post at least twice a day about your life and twice a week about the company, because you don't want people to block you or unfriend you, because and it doesn't count if you say, I had a girl and I was like, okay, you need to be posting a couple times a day about your life, and then only 2 or 3 times, because I'm telling you, people are going to be like, that's all you're about. So her personal post was something like, going to a soccer game today, but man, I couldn't even get up if it weren't for Zing. Okay, that's a good idea, but still, no, we're not going to talk about it at all a couple times a day. It was funny. should totally read it. You should be reading GoPro, Go for No. You could literally read in about an hour. Do you guys know about Go for No? It's such a great, easy read. But anyway, that was just stuff from his. Getting started the right way. Obviously, we all know it's about your why and then your goals. And what's that next page? I forget. Oh, yeah. And it, again, just talks about calls. And this actually might be right off of some of you guys' stuff, is it?
I think it's based on.
See how cute we made it?
There's that again.
Yeah. Okay.
Awesome.
Or Danielle, I say we a lot. That just means everyone. I'm a distributor now. What? Just again, talks all about, you know, how much does it cost, the ups and downs, when nobody likes or responds to your stuff, nobody's calling. You know, it's just some things that we all experience but don't necessarily love to talk about. Spare time? What do you mean? Who has spare time? Have we done the 24 hours in a day? No. We're going to do that. Somebody
I love
remind me.
that.
What's that?
I watched your.
Oh, that's right. I was like, maybe we did.
No, we didn't.
Okay, so Mark recently was telling a lot of us that, oh my goodness, everybody says, well, nobody's, you know, on my Facebook anymore, and everywhere he goes, that's all he hears. My business isn't doing so well because Facebook, I mean, nobody's, so he started to think, I wonder if the only thing people are doing about their business is Facebook. So we decided one night after our Tuesday meeting, all of our directors get together and we said, let's just pretend Facebook didn't exist. What would we do? Kind of scared all of us, which meant we were all relying on Facebook too. So then during our training, Kara and Monica came up with a ton of things outside of Facebook that you can do. Okay? There's the easiest one. We put some of the documents in the same document in different places so you could find it. So that's that one. New starts just from start to finish again is just that same.
Okay.
Yeah. Overcoming objections. I think this might also be Cynthia. Yeah. And so this is just right off of Facebook, one of the things that she says, which I love because it says, is this a pyramid? What if I have high blood pressure? I take a lot of medicine. You hear these same objections. So it's like wording and things that help you or help your team, because wording is a big deal. If somebody's empowered with wording.
Is that what she was talking about on that phone call on, I think it was January
Yes.
23rd, because I actually have it saved on my computer.
About, she had a sheet on objections.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's
I was
all
like
right there for
trying
you.
to
Power
think about
questions.
that. Yeah.
This is actually from one of our owners that I was taking notes at one of the events I was out, and so it's talking about what you can do, because you know asking questions is way more important to hear what they have to say than what you want to tell them. And so if you're asking questions, listen, and they feel valued, and then you can answer the question by giving them the gift. If they say, you know, what is your goal? And they start telling you all about everything, and you have information, and if you can apply a need and a way to fill the need, you're going to sign them up 10 times faster than if you just start rambling on about everything, okay? So that just gives you some examples of that. We decided that there's just a lot of things, and this is, of course, not the end-all, be-all of resources and books that are good. We can continue to add if you know there's some great ones. Then actually, right there, you didn't even have to write that down because I already had it for you. Websites for resources, Crazy for Zing, Zing One, and Amazing Design. Apparently. Whoops. Oh well, we were wrong. It's not the first time for me. Sorry, Lindsay, if it is. Okay, so one day, I guess on Facebook, I decided to give everybody some scripts for how they could contact people because they were like, what do you say whenever? And so this is for cold leads, inactive customers, and even your active customers, okay? So I went through and just said, I used the lead sheets, and then it tells you all the different lists. Now I'm going to give you the scripts for contacting. So here's script 1. If somebody's never heard about Zing, this is what LACIFRIEND says to them, or at some point in my life I did. And then if you keep scrolling, you'll see the one that they never ask you, or they ask you but they never bought it. You know, people who are hanging out there that at some point ask you, but like what's going on. And then finally, old customers or distributors that aren't using it anymore, what can I say to them to get them going again? And I think that was the only ones in there. SMART goals, this is one thing I train on a lot, specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely goals. The only one I really kind of want you to erase from your mind is the realistic, because I believe that that's boring if you can do things that you can achieve. So you might as well get crazy and have a God dream that there's no chance on earth you could ever do it. And then it's really fun when you hit it. So I don't know how that would sound if the SMAGT.
Really
Make
crazy.
it like you're Huh?
What about reach?
There you go. Reach, way outside of what you could do. I like it. Speed bumps. This one's really fun. If people understand that they will have problems And speed bumps mean, you know, you might get slowed down, you might experience some rough, but you obviously go over and keep going. So you don't reinvent the wheel. Everybody comes in here thinking, you know, I have a better way to do this, right? I'm going to set up a new set of resources. And they spend all their time behind the scenes doing that instead of just getting out there and sharing. I've been guilty. What's number 2, Dusty? Because these are...
Oh, sorry.
Never ever stop personally sponsoring people. No matter how successful you get, no matter how strong your team members are, you always want to be building your first line. And right now the President's Club is the most ingenious thing we've ever done. That's an important one. And don't have a small time attitude. Again, if you say, oh, this is just a thing on the side, then probably that's how you're going to treat it. So it's important to just think big, go for it, have huge dreams. Don't take rejection as failure, which is good. And don't focus on the money, focus on the people. So that's just some different things that people experience. Transformation parties, so we do those every single week, have since the day I started. One thing I'll share with you that, we literally write it all out, what you're going to bring to it, what the presentation is like. Have you all seen our little sample cards? Yeah. I can show you really quick something we do, which if you all are interested, or you guys can make up your own. But this is what we give out also to new people. It's a little tiny book, and then when you flip it open, if you have someone who's scared, it tells you, here's the little notes, introduction, success stories. I'm not a doctor, it's not magic, you want to be sure you cover kind of those bases, and then it goes through every product. Here's Zing, here's Lean. And so it's okay if you're standing up there and say, gosh, I'm nervous and I'm kind of new at this, so if you guys don't mind, I'm going to go through this. And then you can hold it, and it has every single one of the 10 products in here with the highlights from it. And then at the end, it also goes over a few little tips, like over 1/3 of the population is actually categorized as obese at this point in the United States, and look what you can do, whatever, and then you can explain 8-day, how it works as a jump start, remember your health affects everything that you do, and then if you have extra notes when you go listen to other people, and you can jot in there. So that's a little booklet that we made up for that. They're literally like $1.15.
And that's you can print that off.
Yeah, there is. It's in here that you can go send it to a printer if you want it cute and bound like this. So anyway. So that's that little doodad, but that's what it's talking about, just all the way through for transformation parties from start to finish, okay? What's this one? Oh, this is just, the training I do on Facebook?
Yeah.
Okay, it's kind of intense, so we just put all the posts on there. So if you have somebody who missed
I
some
tried
of it.
copying and pasting everything once, and it's
So,
just got
yes.
a little overwhelming.
Since I have all that on a document, we decided, why don't we just put out the document in case someone missed it or missed number 33 because they weren't on there or whatever. And I want you to know that if you use it, I changed it because all of a sudden last week I realized, well, this is interesting. I always keep Sunday, as a day I do not work and observe that, and yet I was posting some posts on Sunday. Kind of just didn't make a whole lot of sense. So now it's just Monday through Saturday, and Sundays are off. All same 33 posts are there. I just rearranged and put a few more on other days so that Sunday there's nothing posted. We clean it out and restart it. If you want to add people to that, you have to actually be a member of it. I don't add people, I just approve them. So on post number 33, which will now be on Saturday, late afternoon, I think, it will tell you if you want to stay here so that you put other people in this group, you need a comment. That's how we know to keep people in the group. And then you're only, I'm a stickler, but you're only allowed to add people on Sundays and Mondays, because by Tuesday, they'd be overwhelmed because there's too many posts in there already, and then they're already behind. So I only approve on Sunday and Monday, and the whole thing is wiped clean, and it's gone, and it starts over with post number 1. They're all numbered. And so you can put people in there if you'd like to, and it's just a little snapshot, sample of our company. And that's going to be my new token word for you every time I talk to you. Anyway, it's a little sampling of the company and everything about it. So then there's all these tools in there. We do a customer checklist and a distributor checklist, so we make sure on our customers we've got all their information. We're friends with them on Facebook. We've put them in our pages. We've talked to them about their 8-day and check in on day 2, 4, 6, and 8, right, to make sure they're doing well. On one of those days, I always talk to them about, you've had such amazing results. Who can we help? Who do you know that could really benefit? And then I hope to schedule a party with them. And at 3 weeks, that's when I go over auto ship. I don't try to overwhelm people when they first purchase the kit, but that's how I do it. And we talk about you know, oh my gosh, tell me about the things you're loving. Remember, it's all about questions. So then they're telling me, oh my gosh, I can't believe that I'm sleeping so good. Oh, that's the saying, you're loving that. You know, we'll talk about something else, how you liking your shakes. So I'm making a list on this notes section about the things they love. And then I tell them, you know, this is how I do it. You're loving these 4 things. I think you ought to put these all. If I could order bread, eggs, and milk and have it delivered to my front door instead of having to go into the grocery store, man, that would make me so happy. Everything else almost I buy online. Everything, literally. My kids are always opening boxes from Amazon Prime because I just like that I can just click, 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 order it, and it's at my house, and I never had to, you know, work to go get it. And so I kind of explain that and get them going on it. Is this one on the distributor one?
Checklist.
Yeah, and the distributor one, again, it just kind of explaining the different ways you get started and training and asking for orders and getting organized and stuff like that. So it's just another, if you're like a checklist person, it's kind of nice to have a little thing that when you're on the phone with them, you can go over. Oh yeah, okay, that one is, you know, just in case you're at an event and you want to offer a little thing, it's just things you can cut out and say, hey, I'm giving away free membership. We had it, so we put it in. Getting started business tools, same thing you've already seen. We just put them in there again. And I think, let's look at that one. Oh yeah, order form. It's kind of a neat order form. I like that one.
Yeah, it's got the pictures in it.
Yeah. And then this is also Amazing Designs and talking about how you maintain for under $200, and it has different things, but that's just a sheet you can put in.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. My story in 30 seconds. When we were, you ever have anyone that you have to, you guys did amazing at that, by the way, last night. I'm seriously impressed. You almost practice that. Sometimes we'll put people up there and we try and talk about, okay, practice at home. It's really concise. You don't have to like list every single medication and the dosage and when the doctor gave it to you, and then talk about the lady you met at the grocery store. And then, I mean, it's seriously, sometimes we're all in the back and I'm like, we lost them. You know, like I have a girl, she's sweet as could be, but she just like literally tells her, I mean, everything about what her kid did that day when she gets up there. And so it's important to practice this. And so if you can, you know, tell them, you know, it's inches and weight and size, health benefits. If you have family, you can say that briefly, any success you've had with the business. And so it's a great thing to have them fill out and then practice. And then you can help them say, oh, let's cut this part out because nobody's going to understand what, you know, the name of that medicine is. But you could just say I was on a medicine for, you know, that kind of stuff. So it's just helpful to get it down in 30 seconds. And in Wichita, we had a little contest. We made all of the executives get up and do
That
their
was
story
awesome.
in 30 seconds.
And Kim said you won.
Yeah, thank you for that.
That
That was just notes for our meeting.
Still, it's something we can put out.
Yes, you can. Another order form.
Wanna
I
see
think
it?
it's a different one. You might check that one. I think that, yep, that's the other one. This just shows you starter packs and everything. A couple different options. And there's those note cards. This is the exact little thing I just showed you that you can use.
Did you have that?
The front cover, do you remember, is on that very first page we were on that I pulled up and said, do you like the eggs that you can use?
Okay.
Do you have the one where it says I'm not a doctor? Is that in here somewhere?
It's on the fur. She didn't put that in there. No, but will you remind me and I'll have her throw those out there. We can put it out there to replace.
Do I need to call you a jerk first or not?
Yes. Once you are my friend, you might want to call me honey, sweetie pie. It's just to get my attention, actually, friend in question. President's Club, we decided to make up a little sheet on President's Club. That way you can circle your months throughout the whole year. And then if you get past that and, you know, you check your boxes and how you qualify and the rules.
Very cool.
You guys seen this? Protein comparison chart? Awesome. So it goes through
Oh,
every
that's
single...
updated. I like that.
Yeah, we got it all fixed again, and it has like, here's our lean and everybody else, and who has what calories and carbs and sugars, and so that's a nice one that you can give to people.
Very cool.
So, resources, let's see, I forget what some of these are. Oh, that's the same.
Oh, Ginger Red Hook. I want to do that one.
This is another little one, sharing the gift and get it free. A few steps that, you know, if you basically share with 4 people who get the same thing as you and you get your bonus. This is a kind of another fun little sheet. Same thing. We're going to give it to you once and twice, I guess. Here's another one that Amazing Design did on ways you can get started, which is a good one because it has pictures. That's the company's.
That's mine.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Awesome. Nice work. So now you have like 4 different ways to print an order form. It just depends on your personality and what you like. So now we're back to, that was it in business research?
That was it.
Okay. So now that was for you to use when you're, basically the reason that one is a folder is because that's stuff for team members, that's stuff for you to get people started, that's stuff on your site. Now we're going to flip over into the customer resources, things you would probably hand out to customers and stuff. 10 Steps to Success is something that way back when I used to email people, you know, when they would get started, and just to try to help them, hey, please read through our documents, get prepared, go to the store, get your stuff, drink the water, avoid the white foods, eat your high fibers, eat enough, for heaven's sake. My gosh, how come people just go from eating like all this food and then they think not eating is going to do it? So it's on there. Take your before picture. Please don't skip this step, you know, because people do that all the time. Limiting exercise, but you know, you can walk and when you get off your 8th day and stuff and then commit. So nothing magic, but that's what that one is. Questions about this, I think, came off of the connection with Peter, and it just got put on a cute little document there. So that was a nice one. Health benefits, you guys have seen that, probably, but that's a 1-page thing to hand out. Healthy shopping guide, love that. We have this for lean recipes, the one that are good for 8 days and one good for after that you can give to customers. Measurement chart, I don't know if you've seen this one, but it tells you where to measure, and has the next page is like a you like that gray square? Go down
More
to
than
the
that, what's the black line running down? I was trying to tell that. Look at this black line.
measure right here.
Like this one.
You're gonna lose incredible.
What are you supposed to be measuring?
Always make that shit to see.
I'm going to lose an inch.
Don't be losing inches.
She said.
This is on camera. I remember that. No. So then they took it and actually put like the ingredient list. So if you're sending somebody to the doctor and you want to see ingredient list, and they don't have to print 15 of them, boom, there you go.
Oh, I like that one. It's got the pictures of them.
Yep, and then understanding detox. If you have people that are like, oh my gosh, during my 8th day, I feel horrible, I have a headache, I this, I that, now you can hand them that or send it to them.
Lacey, can I ask a question?
Yes, please.
I know you haven't personally met me, well, in Vegas, I'm in
Yes.
Vegas, but I've just had a person that, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to totally go off track there, but when you showed that, that's insisting that our products gave her a sore throat and that she's sick. Just last
Probably
night.
did give her a sort of the detox did.
Well, but I couldn't get her to understand that, you know, about the detox and whatever, and even with referring her to it, even with her going into the Compass group and insisting that, you know, that
It gave her a sore throat.
that it gave her a sore throat, that she's sick, that she didn't feel lousy before this. I even said, you know, these are detox symptoms. People kept putting on the post, you know, detox symptoms, blah, 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 go up into the files, grab the detox. What do you do with someone that's just so insistent that, I mean, obviously the final thing was I just said, well, just return it. Of course, I wanted to say, where's my number after,
Right,
but I
right.
didn't, you know. But, you know, I don't know what to do. You know, I've been doing this for a year now, and I know all the right answers, but how do you not, I gotta be honest with you, I'm pretty bummed
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah, I literally, this is a really fun one. Right about 3 months after I started, someone told me that the products made them go deaf. And they're right.
Okay, I feel better now.
And I'm like, what? You know, like, okay. You know, like, so anyway, the girl that was on my team that this happened to wasn't like personally, but I mean, I was right there in the thick of it with her trying to figure it out. And I was like, would you do me a huge favor? Would you take all these ingredients to your doctor and ask them which product made you go deaf in your right ear? Because I'm going to need to know that as I proceed, so I can warn people. And I mean, I just, because I'm like, what else do you do, right? The answer, honestly, sadly, is nothing. Thank goodness that's 1 in a million.
Yeah.
And it's not going to happen often, but you did everything that you could do. You try to give them everything you can, but sometimes that's just it, you know? And I mean, I also would have maybe have said to her, have you ever had a sore throat before you started the product? I mean, just trying to point it, I'm kind of snide when it comes, or whatever you call that when it comes to that stuff, but in a fun, loving way, you know, but gosh, oh my gosh, would you please take that into the doctor and let me know which one did that, because, you know, whatever. But ultimately, you did everything you can do, and sometimes people are just not ready, and they're looking for a reason, and so they will just, it doesn't matter what you say, what you do, and it's not about you, it's just about the fact that it wasn't their time yet, or they weren't ready, or they just we're scared. You know, and on their side of the coin, I think a lot of times people will get started and think, oh my gosh, I'm going to fail, and so they'll just figure out a way to get out of it so it's not as painful for them to admit. So there's really nothing magic. You did everything, and you just basically say, speed bump. It's okay. You know what I mean? Like, you just go on and don't allow that to then influence you in the future. And that's what I think we all have to be careful of, is continue to feed yourself as many good things. Go back and look at those positive stories and say, this is why I do it.
So, I mean, you know, I've had, obviously, you know, other people that aren't ready, objections. This is the first time I've ever had someone that literally said that we gave her a sore throat and made her sick and blah, blah, blah.
Right.
And I literally was just dumbfounded, and, you know, and I'm even texting her back and saying, you know, well, you know, you get that from bacteria and viruses and blah, 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 not from all natural products.
Exactly.
You know.
Exactly. You know what's really hilarious is my very first return kit. You'll never guess who it was. It was my mother-in-law. And my husband, I mean, I got in bed and I was bawling, and I was like, maybe I shouldn't do this. I mean, it was early on, and, you know, first he said, I told you. I was like, well, what do you want me to say to her? No, we're not giving you the product because I know you're not going to, you know, so you can't do that. I wanted to give her a chance, but he's like, I told you she would do it. I told you she would do it. But it was just breaking my heart, and it was so early that I was allowing those little things to influence me. And he grabbed my hand and he said, if you just ever changed one person's life, would it have been worth it? And I said, yeah. And he goes, well, you changed mine. Aww. Right? And I was like, now I'm crying harder, you know. It was true. And I've never forgot that from that point on. And we're going to talk about struggles here when we get through this, and it's just an important thing to realize. But really, you know, you just have to look past those and keep moving forward. And so, yeah. I don't know if this girl's still deaf, but you can't hear me talking about it. Let's go. Independent. These are just logos, all the little logos. Pop them. So we love to make things cute, and I saw some of you had bags on your chairs last night, maybe for your guests or something. Is that right? I saw blue bags. So we print these out and use a whole, you know, the big round circle punch from Martha Stewart, and pop them out and put a little thing on it, tie it with wrapping. You can do that on little bags if you like to give samples, if you're laying stuff on chairs. So we just put those on a little sheet for you, and the rest of them are just other logos that either the company has. Or this one I need to read. Okay, so this is yours. This is you guys' activity tracker that we took compass off of, you know. Mileage log, oh dear. I'm not so good at that. So this is a page that would just sit in my car, and I would act like I was going to write on it, and then January, February, the next year when I'm ready to die, because I never wrote anything down, I would look at that blank piece of paper. Wish I would have filled it out. Okay, so get out a piece of paper really quick, a blank piece of paper, and write 24 at the top of it. Oh, 24. Anybody watch that show? I've never watched it, but isn't there a show called 24? Okay. I was like, I'm pretty sure there. Okay, would everybody agree with me that there are 24 hours in one day? Yes. Anybody gonna disagree with that? Okay. So now what I want you to do is you have 24, and everybody's going to come up with a different answer, so you can't cheat off your friend. But first what you're going to write down is if you work outside of your house, other than singular, if you work a different job, I want you to erase. It's only mostly 8 hours a day, right? If somebody actually has to clock in and clock out for 10, then erase 10. But whatever your average day of work is, erase that from your 24.
Does that include?
Does it include driving time?
No, we'll get to that.
Okay.
So just the actual working hours. And that doesn't include your lunch break or whatever. So if it's 8 to 5 or whatever, that's 8 hours. Okay? Apparently Dusty doesn't need to hear this, so I'll let him know. This is just a sample of it. Okay, so now you're going to take the hours that kind of get lost in your day. If it's your commute, we're going to eat some meals, we're going to use the bathroom, apparently we're going to poop because I like talking about that. And so take an hour or two off for just those random things that we usually don't account for. The next one is the time that you spend with your family. Do you want that to be 4 hours a day? You're taking your kids to activities and you're spending time together as a family, or things like that. Go ahead and erase like intentional hours with your family. One day. One day.
What about Friday?
And maybe this, right, that can go in there, friends and family. And that can be what you want it to be, not what it is, right? So when I used to fill this paper out, if I was realistic with myself, that number might have been a lot smaller than I wanted it to be. But I want to spend from 5 to 8 with my kids and my husband, and so I'm going to write those whole 4 hours down. That's what I want out of my day. And then lastly is sleep. And this is what I want you to think about. I want you to look at how many hours you have left in your day. And if you're someone who thinks you need 10 hours, I want to introduce you to some products that would really help you. But I get about 6 hours of sleep every night, and I can function and feel great at 6 hours. Okay? So write down on that one what you feel like you could do. It could be a little bit less than what you're, getting right now. Everybody have that number? Have you ever had anyone? Have you ever had anyone who says, "I don't have time for this business. I work a full-time job. My kids go to activities. I like to spend time with my family." You guys just all wrote that down, right? How many hours do you have left?
11.
What's over here?
11.
11 left. I heard 3, 13s, 7s, 11s. 1. Yeah. Mine was like pretty small. But guess what? Do you know that you can be incredibly successful in this business with 1 hour, with 2 hours? And if you're somebody who has 11, then oh my goodness, you have all the time in the world to become a platinum executive. It's very eye-opening to think, either for yourself or for other people, when they say, or you say, "I'm so busy, I just can't find time to fit it in." Oh my gosh, and do you know why? It's because your day is planning you. You're not planning your day. And so, if you take and you're intentional, so now we're going to look at this weekly planner. Scroll down because I like cute stuff. So we made cute ones too. Keep going, whatever color you like. You can have this weekly planner in whatever, have 12 different ones or 52 different ones, I guess, because it wouldn't be months, it would be weeks. Or if you're really boring, go ahead and pick that first one. But this gives you from midnight to midnight, your 24 hours. Here's something that we just had an aha moment a few weeks ago when we were meeting as a director team. And we said, you know what's hard is sometimes you'll hear people say, well, have office hours, like block a certain amount of time for your work and so that way you get it done. And that's really hard for me for some reason because I want to help somebody have a three-way when they need it and I want to do this and that. And I can't be everything to everyone, but still it doesn't seem like it fits into a nice, I go to work for these hours, right? So then we had this moment where we decided that we were going to take this sheet and we were going to write in the things. I use highlighters. Pink and yellow highlighters, and we're going to put in what's important to us first. So this is what my day looks like. I usually actually am not in bed until about 1 o'clock in the morning. So my midnight 1 is still highlighted in yellow because I work. I'm on the computer. I'm sitting private. I love Facebook because I can just, if it's 3 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the morning, 1 o'clock, it doesn't matter. You're not waking people up, but you can still send them a message. So I work from midnight to 1 in the morning, and that's yellow, and that's my singular time. But then I hope to be sleeping between 1 and 6:30 a.m. And so I block that one in pink because that's Lacey's other time. And then at 6:30 in the morning, I get up, I get my kids ready, I do my devotions, we eat breakfast, and it's time that I have with my family and my kids. My husband's already gone. But I block that all the way from 6:30 until I drop the last kid off at 8:30. I know this sounds like silly, but I write it all in, or I block it all out. So when I get home at 8:30, that is the time that I'm going to go work out and take a shower and all this. So I'm still blocking time, still all pink, okay? So I'm blocking time all the way through 10. If I have a doctor's appointment that day, because this is a weekly planner, so it's Sunday through Saturday, so I'm doing this on every day. If I have a hair appointment, if I have this or that, I go ahead and start plugging that in. Then I skip down to the evening and I start picking my kids up at 2:50 p.m. and 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and then I have family activities all the way down to like sometimes 8 o'clock. I'll block all that. Everything left over is my open time. Rather than me trying to find time and say I'm doing singular from 2 to 4, I block out the things that I need to take care of first. And that's God and my family. Right? And then after I get those in, then it's the water around marbles. We've heard that before, but I just never transferred it onto a piece of paper that was like a planner. So I block the things I have to get done, the appointments that I have, my family time, and all the other stuff each day. And then the rest that's open, I start highlighting in yellow. And that's when I can go to work. And same as you might have 13 hours on that page, and it's not going to be every day because you have hair appointments and you have other extra stuff, but you're going to find that you have pockets of time every day, and then you can plan your day. In the yellow zone on my paper, I start plugging things in that I'm going to do because you need to have measurable, specific things. So even if it's yellow and you say, oh, I could work it, okay, bring it in, that's not going to happen. So then I start writing the names of people I'm going to contact, the things that I'm going to do, the follow-up I'm going to do with my team inside the yellow zones on that sheet, and it is amazing how much more you'll get done. And you took care of the things that are important, because balance is the most important thing that you need to learn here. You have to balance everything from your family and your work, and that way it actually can be successful. So that's that one. And I'll tell you what, one thing I don't think is on here, but I think is pretty important, is there are basically 3 areas in our work. So inside the yellow zone, you're doing one of 3 things that, all the time. One of them is growth, right? When you're telling new people, you're sharing it, you're in Facebook, you're out at the store, you're doing things that are like bringing new people into this gift that we have. The middle one is management. We're managing people who say that they have a sore throat, people who are going deaf. I mean, it's tragic, but you've got this management piece. You're telling people, oh, how you doing? How's day 2? Whatever. We're just constantly managing those kinds of things. And then over here in the 3rd column is leadership. Hopefully you're developing leaders, helping people personally develop in their life and, find their God dream and everything. So there's these 3 categories, right? Where do you guys feel like you spend your most time? Would it be growth, management, or leadership? We'll just do management, right? That's me too. Guess which one gets you empty, burnt out, and has no life in it? Management. So anytime you start to feel like, like, I can't believe I got this today, and you're feeling burnt out, and you're feeling spent, and you're feeling like it's because all your time is in management. The places that there are life are in growth and leadership, because you're birthing new people or you're birthing leaders. And so it's important when you're planning your day to spend more of your time in those 2 categories, in growth and in leadership. You've got to manage. It's a very important part. You don't let go of your customers, stuff like that. I'm not saying don't take time, but give it its rightful place. Where you're not constantly, if somebody's at the grocery store right now and they need to know the exact kind of jerky that is used and how much sodium, sometimes you can't get to it. I guess they maybe should have asked you before they left for the grocery store. And I don't mean that in a mean way. I'm just saying you are not married to it. You do not have to think you have to be everything to every person at every time. And later I'll go, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, because do you know what I now have to, this is pathetic, but I learned that my pink times became my yellow times, because if my phone, even if it was on silent, I felt the vibrate for some reason, I felt compelled that I needed to check. And somebody might need me and something. Well, guess who really needs me? My family. And me. And all of that. So I put my phone on sleep on that cute little moon shape, and I will put it in my room. I can't hear it, I can't see it, it's not vibrating, and I shut it, because that is not the time for that. And I have to keep that balance. But then in the yellow times, I'll pick it up and say, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, did you find that jerky at the store? If not, it's turkey, turkey at Target, say that 10 times. And, so I'm answering them for next time. They can run back to Target, and it's not that I failed them. You really have to figure out that you have to control your time. So
This is that same girl that wanted me to go to the grocery store with her too, to get her groceries, to start the program. And I said, okay, well, when I get back from Florida, for the girl that I drove down there to go to the grocery store with her, I'll come get you next.
yeah. I mean, and sometimes people just totally on their handheld, and you can empower people and say, girl, you can do this. I just try to turn it around for a positive for someone and say, I know that you're scared. That's what she's really telling me. I know that you're scared. This is something new. And so I just want you to know you can do this. I'm going to give you a shopping guide. We can talk about it for a few minutes at the appropriate time, and when you, whatever. And I know it's a scary thing and it's a new thing, but I am here to help you. And I just try to flip it right back around and try to get them empowered to do things, because really you're not going to do people a favor. And I've done that too. Just I kept doing it for people, doing it, and you're not doing them a favor. You really, the gift is that you empower them, to be confident in them, not you. So, okay. Peter does all these tips on the things that come out, the weekly emails and stuff, and the gal from Amazing Design actually just turned them into awesome like forms that you can share. Isn't that cool? So it's the tips and exercise and all kinds of them. They're all stuff that has come off of his things that he produced, and she just put them on a great form. Fancy that.
That's awesome.
Thank you, Nancy.
Very
Yes.
cool.
That's the Y supplement one. You guys seen that one? It's a good one. So that's just some of those. And again, we'll add to that because I bet she'll make more, and we'll put it out and say, hey guys, add this to your, Peter's tips form.
Lacey, has anybody put these documents into like an auto send for their
Probably not.
distributors as they get started? Because I can see some of those just being
Yeah,
really
yeah.
amazing.
I don't have any idea. You're talking
Okay.
Spanish to me right now.
Yeah.
So I don't think so. Because somebody said something about how you could zip it and send it. So in case you can't get to them with the flash drive, and I was like, somebody wants to figure that out, you let me know. Because that is
Like
not
a
my
constant
gift.
contact.
Like a constant contact
Joe, and
thing,
you
that
can
would be
put it
amazing.
on Google Drive, and then you can actually share with them, and just
No,
send them
I'm-
a link.
I'm talking about, Lacey's got 17,000 people in
Right.
her first 7 levels. If you wanted to send out a Monday message to everybody, and I don't
A
know
way
how
to
to
do
do
it?
it, there's a way to do it, that every Monday, you can program it for the whole year,
Mhm.
and
I
you
do
say,
know how to program stuff for Hootsuite, because if you ever do my training, you'll notice that's where it all comes from.
Okay.
I'm not sitting at the computer on Monday at
Right.
7:30, 9 o'clock, 11:30. I actually did that the first 3 weeks, and I seriously was like, oh, I don't know what I just signed myself up for. Like this is crazy. I had alarms set on my phone, and I'm at Dairy Queen, and I'm like, hold on, I gotta go copy and paste this thing and pop it up there. And then one day, Carrie's like, are you familiar with Hootsuite? I'm like, no, what's that? And she just like saved my life. So that we can do, but yeah, if somebody has that kind of, we all have different gifts here. Thank you, Lord, for bringing Danielle to produce things, and Nancy Schramm, and everybody who makes these documents and stuff, because I just steal and share. So this is all your 8 days that she made. Your suggested 8-day, your vegan, your vegetarian, your athletes.
All on one?
Well, they're all
Oh, they're
different
separate,
pieces of
okay.
paper. And so I will tell you, and then there's card cycling, again, the healthy shopping list, and the post-ignite plans in its own folder. So, yeah. So it shows you the overview, weeks 1, 2, 3. Okay, this one is actually wrong. So when you're opening your zip drive, we got all confused, I guess, Peter. This is actually one for an athlete, like who needs to eat a lot more. So note that this is incorrect if you get the jump drive. It actually has a different one that has week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4 that you can add in there. But this was one that got out. We thought it was a changed one, but it was really just for some pretty intense athletes. So just know that. Something that I have started doing and I never did before, I have those kits that I carry on hand. I have started buying just really 10-cent pocket folders, and I print all the different 8 days, and I print the shopping guide, and I print the post-ignite. We actually have a few other lifestyle plans that we still share with people if they don't want to do the post-ignite. And I actually have each in the folder. So I have their 8-day with their measurement, the shake recipes, the 8 days, and then over here I have lifestyle plans and the post-ignite carb cycling thing. And just the ones that when I hand them a kit, because obviously they want to get started right now, I have all that stuff inside the box in a folder, and just a, hey, thanks so much, here's my phone number, with a little handwritten note that I give them. It's something I just recently started, and I really like it, because it's just an extra step that I printed the documents for them. Now, obviously, when it's shipped to them, I can connect those onto a welcome letter that I send them through email, and they can print them, or sometimes I just send them to the Zing one. See, I would love to find somebody who could put all the documents together for me that I have in the folder, and then I could just send that one little thing, but I really barely know how to turn my computer on. So that's the Ignite stuff. Okay, so anything that has to do with products, you're going to love this one too. Health benefits, this is a great one. 2 of the things I love giving people, if you click on the first one, health benefits, you guys have seen this, how the products might help you with your health. I would love for us to actually update that, because I think this is grossly out of date, because we know it does a whole lot more than this. I just haven't had time myself or anything to tell someone else, hey, can you have this, this, and this? That's how I do. Okay, that one, is that the same thing we just did? Yeah, it is. Nutritional facts, there's that one again. So if somebody needs to go to the doctor. And then the product images, love this. It's pictures and pictures and pictures of each of the products so that you can use them in different groupings and the different packs and all that good stuff, so that it's at your disposal as well. And then Yep, the spec sheets. This is actually the individual ones from the company that go into detail about Accelerate, that go into detail about Cheat, so that's just the ones from the company. And then the product bios, this one again is from Nancy and her site. It goes through each one and is a really cool little image that just gives a little blurb. Yep. It's a sample. Okay, now we're on to the last one. So we started making up little recipe cards. So at our events, I don't know if you've ever seen us, say we have an event, the first 50 people in the room get a free gift. Every single time it's a Zoom sample, a zip stick, and 2 or 3 recipe cards. Cheap, easy, but gets people there on time. So we went through, there's one of Peter's that was on there. We did this one. It's the Healthy Shopping Guide, only it's on a 4x6. So somebody could throw it in their purse on cardstock if they're at the store. Those are good. Yeah, they're amazing. They're good.
You tried that?
Those are totally stinking, unbelievably good. Recipe by who?
LACIFRIEND.
I saw it off Pinterest. She just thinks it was me, and so she put my name on there. I was like, that wasn't me. I got that off Pinterest. She's like, oh well, you found it. It's yours now. And so that's another one we'll be adding to. And that way and if you have great recipes, send them to me. I mean, this whole thing came, obviously we took things out of everyone that's been in here and everywhere else, but we're just trying to make a way for us as a company when we support each other and give each other the good ideas. So give me your call thing and we'll send that to Nancy. If somebody wants to take it upon themselves to say, I'd love to update that health benefits page, the more that each of us can take a piece of this puzzle, the better that we'll be, right? So we're going to add even more to that. Oh, I'd love the dip too. I don't know if you guys have tried that one. Now, one thing that I hope to add a folder to, and I'm probably going to have someone add my folder, and then is testimonials. And I don't know if you've seen what Danielle has been doing. If you've seen the ones that have a picture and then the stories typed out, and that's Danielle. And okay, I do want to say this. I keep pumping her up, but please don't start sending her messages to do your stuff, because that's not what she does. She doesn't do that. She does Singular. She doesn't want to start doing everybody's forms and their party stuff and their everything else. I'm going to say this for her, because she needs to concentrate on her business, but she has this gift. And so as stories come out that are powerful, she puts the pictures up and does the story. And so we'd like to add another folder that is basically like transformations and stories and stuff like that. So if you do have a super powerful one, it's obviously going to help all of us, and she can do that in her spare time. It doesn't mean she'll turn around and get it done in a day. Might be next week or whatever, but I hope that we can add a folder for that as well. You guys have some of those already? Or?
Well, I was just going to ask, do you know what program she uses? So maybe we could duplicate it.
Yeah, just put the format up there and we can drop the stuff into the format. That way everybody's
What
doing
else are
their
you
own.
messaging me about? There was something else that was
The first page of the X call.
Yes, of the call, dial-in call. No.
No, the first page
Oh, the
of
first.
the folder.
Okay, so remember the dial-in call, the first page, and like what program, and if we could do a drop-in, where you drop this in and drop in your story, and then we could make them. And if we get them out, then we could dump them in that folder. You can just keep dumping them in the folder, and then when you're ready to go find a story and you need to tell, like you said, was Ashley sending you a picture, of Lou or whatever, then you could think about the person you're wanting to talk to. You already have a picture and a story that looks nice, looks professional, and you could then pull it out and send it to someone or post it or however.
So what are we calling that so you know what I'm talking about?
Just say Danielle's program and a testimonial
Drop in
Yeah.
format.
format, or call me a jerk.
Drop in format.
So, clearly, that whole jump drive is a compilation of stuff you guys have done and, just organized brains and people's ideas that have all come together. But we were just so excited to offer that at our training because it's just an easy, simple place that you can find just about everything. So please help me. If you see something that needs updated, if you see something that would be awesome, just start turning your brain on to, oh my gosh, this is a great resource, I need to save it. When you're saving it, send it to me too. And that way we can kind of all together get it out to everyone and say, hey, drop this into the Peter, tips folder, drop this into whatever on your jump drive, and we can continue to add to this over time and make it better and better for everybody. So kudos to everybody who, helped put different pieces of that together because it's kind of amazing. So that's that one. And then lastly, yes.
When you say you send out a message to everybody to drop this into their jump drive, is that through your page?
It's on my team page.
I'm wondering if which two pages called.
Lacey's distributor team, but here's the thing, I'm going to sound snotty. Scotty. I don't put anyone in it that's not on my team, and
Okay.
the only reason is, that's where I tell everybody what my, like if I'm having a, what do you want to call it, a contest,
Yeah.
I'll put on there, oh my gosh, everybody, and I used to put other people in, and then sadly they thought they were going to win the contest, and then I'm like, I've got to let them win the contest, because I said anybody, so I stopped doing it. There are other leaders. Dusty's in my team page.
So you have to snag all of that stuff that says add this to the jump drive, and put it on the Compass page so we can all put it on our jump
Yeah,
drive.
Cal is in there, and like Jane is in there, and so mostly Joanne's in there, and Kathy Watten's in there, and so there's a lot of people that are like the leaders in the area.
Some of the
that-
other groups.
Mhm. And I'm in Compass actually. I don't know if you guys know that.
You are.
And we do that for each other for that very
Yeah,
reason.
yeah.
So if I see
Share.
something that you guys are talking about that I think, oh my gosh, what a great idea, then I can copy and paste that and put it over on mine and
Which
vice
happens all
versa.
the time.
I know, right? I don't really have a team page. You don't want on it. It's just copying everybody else's stuff. But that's the only reason I lock that one down, just because I do some fun things, for contests for my group, and I'll just say, oh, the first person to go do this gets whatever. And so I had to kind of back scale on that. And start just locking it in. But I try a lot of times too if there's something really good like that, I'll try posting it everywhere I can find, like whatever pages I can get on, or tell everybody, go copy this to your team pages so that we can get it out there. I know there needs to, heaven forbid, because I've started like 30 different Facebook pages, but I have thought of that, like information sharing, some kind of page where everybody, because we have Zing It before and now, and the Zing Food. Are you guys aware of all these? So there's singular before and now testimonies. I would love to employ you right now, if you have not, to go click on files, look at all the files, and then add your story to the appropriate files. That's another place that, if you have migraines, please put it in the migraine story, because all of us are going there to find stories so that we can share them with someone. So that one's singular before now. Zing It was a page that was basically customers, sometimes that one gets out of control and it's overwhelming, but customers ask each other questions on there. Kara and I used to monitor it a little heavier, and we just can't anymore. There's too many people and too many things to do, so just know that you're entering at your own risk. We approve posts now, because we learned that the hard way, that, now we have to at least approve a post to go on the page. So if you've ever posted on Zing It and it takes a few days, that's why we are monitoring what gets on the page, but you cannot monitor comments. And I don't have time to go read every single thing and every single comment. So if you see something, then say, I've had messages, have you seen what's on Zing It? You need to go, erase or monitor or whatever. Zing Food is a page that we started just for good recipes and good stuff like that. So like post 8 day or during the 8 day, if you go in there and just kind of scroll there, people post all kinds of great recipes in there. Jenna Lee Myers, who is on Cala's team, has one called Red Box Rally. Every Monday, a new 8 day starts in there, and she posts things each day of the 8 day. Hey, it's day 2, and hey, it's day 3, and it's awesome. She even now is using Peter's little 1-minute videos on the appropriate days and putting them in there. So if you have new people starting, it only starts every Monday, because clearly we couldn't, manage more than that, but that seems to be pretty popular to start on a Monday. So she starts day 1 on Monday and runs through a week, and then starts it over the next week. So that's another really good one. And it would be kind of neat if we had some sort of, I don't know which category that would fit in, but if we had updates for resources, it might be nice to have a page like that, but we'll see.
Joan had a good idea, and I don't know, this is not near your expertise, but maybe on the twins or somebody else, the Dropbox, yeah.
Yeah, I actually knew the word.
Yeah, because if she said if they update that, everybody who's a part of that just gets the update automatically, as opposed to having to find it and put it into a folder.
And then we could just tell people, hey, if you haven't checked Dropbox in a while, there's updated forms in
That's
there
it.
or whatever. So there you go. I got like 2
list.
gigabytes or something for free.
And
Yeah,
everybody
you
that
either-
joins, you get
You
additional
get so
gigabytes.
much.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
So we'd all have to figure out,
Is it like
being a part of
file?
Dropbox and the updates and whatnot, but just
Someone
we'll
could do
we'll
that.
figure that out. Cool. Okay. Anybody else? Anybody else have questions about all of the resources and the different things available? No, you. Sorry.
Is there a special thing that you do for transformation parties, like to promote it, or there's Facebook and all that stuff? Is there anything unusual that you do?
For transformation parties, we always make a Facebook invite, but we do not depend on a Facebook invite. We try to tell everybody to personally invite their friends and then use that as a reminder. We don't use it as the method of invitation. We use it as a reminder. And then one of the fun things, and I think you guys probably do this as well, is we start asking people on our page or team page or whatever, hey, go post your story and your picture in there for us so people can start seeing the transformations that have happened already, and that's been a really neat thing. But we really use it as a reminder. We do have a flyer. I don't know if you've seen our flyer, but we have our meeting every Tuesday at the same place, at the same time, without fail. It doesn't matter if no one shows up or 50 people show up. It's a consistent thing that we do. And so we have a little flyer that just is standalone. We could post it in Starbucks. We could put it anywhere because it says every single Tuesday night, El Rodeo
there's
Mexican
no date.
Restaurant. There's no date.
Okay.
So we don't have to update it because it happens every week. That's one thing I think is powerful about our transformation parties is that they happen. And we've gone through spells, even months at a time, and it's disappointing. But we've gone through months at a time where there's 7 or 8 distributors and no guests, or a guest. And I'm like, so last week we had 50 people in here.
Wow.
Same thing, we do the same thing every week, right? This is just all about timing. But we really try to get everyone to personally call, text, or message a very personal, heartfelt invitation to come, and then remind them in a personal way as well. But then send them, say, hey, I also invited you just as a reminder of the event happening. Here's the flyer too, if you want to bring a friend. But that's kind of how we always have done.
So you have, is it a restaurant or something?
Yeah, we've
Yeah.
messed around with that too. We went
Yeah.
into a hotel thinking that, oh, that's nice, and people will come, it seems professional, and I'm not kidding, it was like the death of our parties for some reason. In Wichita, apparently people like to eat. And so when we went back to the restaurant, first week 40 people, next week 50 people. I'm like, who knew? I think because now we have kind of gotten into this whole couples or relationship type thing. Bring a friend, bring your husband, bring your mom. Come out, have a fun night out to eat. We're going to spend 30, 40 minutes telling you all about, this stuff. And so I seriously think a lot of people come just because they're like, oh, it's a night out at the Mexican restaurant. And we went and found a mom and pop place that wasn't a big chain. And it blesses their socks off. I mean, every week they, oh my gosh, thank you so much, thank you so much. I mean, they went from having 5 to 7 people on a Tuesday night to 50. And so it blesses them because people are coming to eat.
Do you ever entice them with like saying paid for 20% of your food order or something?
No, never have done that. We tell them if you want to eat, you're welcome to come and order, and here's when you can order towards the beginning, so please get there on time because we don't want to be taking orders all through the middle of our presentation. I mean, that has happened. And when they deliver the food, we have to pause for a minute. It's not ideal, but I'd rather have 50 people there and we pause for 10 minutes for them to deliver food than sit in the hotel and we're all like, we're here another week with no one. This is not fun,
Yeah.
So we just make it work, and
So you do a group like transformation party, and then so all the distributors can invite all of their.
yeah, that's just
People
always
there.
how we have done it, our entire team. And now we have 3 executives and 3 platinum directors and 2 directors, all in Wichita, which is kind of nice. Because then we have a lot. So we've changed this a million times, but our current status is I'm in charge of a week, and then I just employ people on my team that aren't also on a week's rotation, because every one of those people are on my team. So I'm not going to use all of them because they have their own week. So the first week is me, second week is Kara, third week is Monica, fourth week are the Zing twins, fifth week is Kylie, sixth week is Stephanie, and we start over. And we'll put up a calendar because sometimes then I can't do it, but we just take a 6-week block, build it on the 4th week when we're meeting afterwards. We just build the next 6 weeks out. Then I can relax the other 5 weeks, and I'm way more likely to have the time, because I have time every day, but to invite and to invest in people to come and all that. I'm not having to think about bringing my kit. I can pick people up for the other 5 weeks and everything. I pay for samples. I pay for our little, if we bring brownie bites or we buy quesadillas or whatever, I'm in charge of everything. And I love that it starts getting other people involved. So then I'm talking to my managers and silver managers and gold managers, hey, would you share your story? Who wants to do the products? It doesn't mean I'm the one doing everything. It just means I'm in charge of getting it all done. That makes sense? So we do that every Tuesday, but then we also are still trying, because it's one night a week. I mean, who has to really leave and go to work one night a week, and do what we do? So then we also try still to have our launch parties, and because this is at the same place, and then we have a west side location that we, because this is like down on the east side, and so we've kind of even toyed around with, as long as 3 of us are there, then the other 3 of us could actually be other places. Because I have people 30 minutes away in Hutch. I could, on a Tuesday night when I know Deanna, Danielle, and Kara are at our place, I could go to Hutch and do one with one of my other team members on a Tuesday. So I'm actually not even taking up another night of my week, but we just want to know that there are 3 of us leaders at the event. And then the other 3 can kind of split off and do one in Derby, which is 30 miles south, or on the west side, or have a lunch party for people that are just getting started, because that's still really important too. So we do the Tuesday to be consistent, but then we do our other parties and lunches on other days.
Yeah, so it's the same with the Tuesday we've been doing, and then we moved it to Diablo for a little while, just kind of similar to what they're doing. So I mean, we can definitely take a look at it.
We've changed, I don't even know how many times, because.
Well, because I was just thinking like how, Melanie and I, or Kevin and I are on Wednesday, and I have my girl Randa streaming in, and then I have Beth and Deborah bringing their people too, and I just kind of like the idea of instead of, 30 transformation parties to go to, or this, that, or whatever, and I realized it was, like what we were doing before, but I'm just wondering if we could make it be a specific transformation party for everybody to.
That was yesterday.
Well, that's true, but I mean, in a restaurant setting, like she said.
And we did it twice a month for a long time rather than every week.
Right.
We did like the 1st and 3rd Tuesday, which you could still produce a document that said every 1st and 3rd Tuesday, and you wouldn't have, if you did something like that. I have a group in Arkansas, they like to mix it up, because not everybody can come on a Tuesday night at 6 o'clock. So they do the first Monday at 7, and then they'll do a Thursday at noon for people who can come over their lunch break. And so they kind of have a different schedule, but it's so different for every area and what works for different things, and we play around.
And you still, when you have people coming from out of town or corporate, and you still do a big meeting.
Oh my goodness, yes. Right. We do a huge hotel. We did one January 24th,
right.
And had a huge, with the free product and all that good stuff that they send and sending people from corporate, so we do that as a special. And when we do that, a lot of times we'll skip our Tuesday. Either, depending on what night of the week, because we don't want people, we'd rather them come to the big event, even for their benefit, because, we do the big raffle and we do all the good stuff like that, so we'll even cancel again.
So you're not doing so many home parties anymore, you're just doing that?
Oh, we still do them. We'll still do a launch party with someone that's new, every new person, but not so much that we're all in totally different places every single week. So we do launch parties if somebody's just starting, and then we do the Tuesday nights.
I think the tricky thing was going from promoting last month's event to then all these parties, and you're promoting something every single week.
Yeah.
Like, what do I send these people?
Right.
Hey again, having
Right.
the same event, change
Right.
a few words, and
Right.
it just gets kind of.
Right, redundant or something, yeah.
What is nice though is if somebody can't make an event, to have those other events to be
Yeah.
able to send them to.
Yep, it is. Have an alternative for it, yeah.
But what we're going to be going into in a little bit here with the struggle is what's cool is, she's the top earner of the company, right? But you've heard her say, we've tried this, we've tried that, we're still figuring out, we're doing this, we're doing that, and that's where we are too. Is we just changed our Tuesdays to training, and we kind of look at this monthly format, but I'm totally open to talking about different ideas and whatever everybody wants to do to figure this thing out and probably change it again.
Yep, and I will too.
Yeah.
How
Stay
often
tuned.
do you do trainings? I mean, I know you had that
Interestingly
really
enough-
big one. But
Right, interestingly enough, the last time I did that was like 2.5 years ago.
How do you train your new people?
We do it by those documents and getting started, and there's something else that's been really important that I've been learning about leadership, because the only 3 people I led before that were my children. It's not like I had some formal training at this, and so I learn as I go on that part as well. And I have been doing that individually, we do it, but one of the things that on the Friday before our huge Saturday training, my pastor took my whole director group through this biblical leadership and all this stuff, and we learned so much that day about how we need to empower our people to do this. If they constantly come to me all the time, I am going to feel burnt out, I am going to be empty, I am going to get off balance, and it's important because there's such gifts in each person to empower people, to do it themselves. And so the more duplication and the more things we can provide like this, then they can print a sheet, go through with their distributor. We've tried so many things on Tuesday nights after the event. We have one week which was fun and recognition, another week where we did a training topic, another week. But a lot of times we found people were driving with their guests and they needed to get home and put kids to bed, so then no one was staying. And so we've just, gone all over the place. But a lot of it is through conference calls, like we'll do a weekly conference call for our team that's training topic, or tell people to get on the corporate training call on Thursday nights, and then just kind of individually, we're getting ready to start an 8-week mentorship program where we pick 5 people that we feel like can be incredible leaders, and we have an 8-week, and you'll get it and can go on the jump drive when we're done. We just are in the midst of planning it right now. And it'll be an 8-week program where you can mentor few and still teach many. But it's important to know that you cannot hold everyone. You know what I'm saying? Like in a leadership spot, and really do them justice or yourself. And so we each went through our teams and picked 5 people. And we sent them a letter and told them how much we believe in them and believe that, you know, they have incredible leadership qualities, but they'd like to be a part of this, but here's the rules. And we spelled out what you're going to be doing for that 8 weeks. And if you can't commit right now, it's okay. Say no, because we're going to kick you out if you don't do it. You know, like it's important to do.
Yeah.
And so they had to fill out an application with their why and their goals. And we're going to have sheets that go along every week for them and one for us as the mentor, and have a phone call every week with them for the 8 weeks, just me and each of my 5 when we schedule our appointment. And we'll go in or do the 3-way calls, and then we have a sheet to check off when they've done the things that we have as objectives. And next week we'll talk again and review it and go to the next set of objectives for the week. And the goal at the end of the 8 weeks is to develop them as people, develop them as leaders, help them to feel confident and equipped. That's going to help their business. And then we have practical applications in your singular business to do that during each of those 8 weeks. So that's a new thing we're going to try, because we really want it to be, it's not me training everybody, because frankly, I don't even know any, I don't know any more than the next person, but we can learn together, work together, empower each other, and they can be training their people, and at the end of the 8 weeks, we'll have a party for just that group, and then hopefully they will then pick 5 people on their own teams, and it duplicates again. So as far as big trainings, I've literally only ever done 2 in my entire 3 years of doing this. We had a Super Saturday training. Gosh, I don't know, I was in the company 6 months to a year when we did the first one. Huge turnout. Not sure why I didn't think of it again for another 2 years, but I didn't. And then all of a sudden I'm like, oh my gosh, we should totally do this, and it'd be fun to, go to each other's homes. And so this one was really cool. And so when we were done, the girls, when we went on our Tuesday night, they were like, okay, that was awesome. We should do that either every 6 months or every year or something, just to have a fun, big training. And then we just do our daily work to help people learn.
You really covered a lot, Erin. I mean, that was an all-day lunch in the middle. That was a pretty fabulous training. And it covered everything. It wasn't everything over a course of 12 weeks. It was all in a day. And
And we did that because, there are people that are brand new that are sitting in the room. There are people who've been there the whole 3 years. And so you still have to cover the basics. It's a good review for people who've been there 3 years, because then they're like, I do need to be telling my brand new people this, or, this is what I need to be doing with them. It's just kind of, so we try to cover everything. So it probably will happen every 6 months, because as you guys know, we're at Zing Fling, Zing Fest, Zing Fed, and things in between, so just a year could fly by, but once a year, whatever month we choose, if it's January or so, and just do like a training like that. And that was actually our first time to learn about, like you guys have the drop cam or whatever. It was about 48 hours before the event that my husband, because I was a little stressed about the weather and people were canceling because we had snow and ice, and he's like, well, he runs the camera at church every week that tapes it, and he's like, why don't you talk to Scott and see if you could do something with, live? And I'm like, oh, I have no idea what I'm doing. So I just called the other guy at church. I'm like, you want to come help me? I'll buy your lunch. I'll give you $50. And he went to the movie theater to get the projector, because I didn't care what happened. We were going to have our PowerPoint. And man, did we work that out, But find people that know what they're doing, and feed them lunch, I guess. It works.
I'm just going to throw out an idea that a couple of us have been talking about, and actually I was talking to Tyrone about it as well. If you're not a director, basically you go from July to April or May without an event. So it would be really cool to do something in January, maybe in Florida, somewhere where it's sunny and nice, especially for us.
I would rather go to Florida than here in January.
So maybe once a year in January, we could get all the teams, even if it's not corporate sponsored. We get all the teams together, we do a training, we hang out, and have fun. Kind of like family reunions, I think.
That would be fun. We did a 3-day deal where we did one of them training and 2 days of fun, so that it was a fun thing to do. I love that idea. So that's something we can look at to do in the future and go somewhere.
Warm.
Not Detroit, not Kansas, because it's cold in both places. Anybody else have questions about any of this info?
How do you handle out-of-towners?
I think I was telling Dusty, no, somebody. I've talked to so many people in the last couple of days. Maybe it was Mo when she picked me up, but I was like, you know, a lot of my team isn't in Kansas. I have a team in Nashville, a team in Texas, a team in Arkansas, a team in Oklahoma, and they're bigger teams. And so, do you need my training purposes?
Well, I
or?
basically mean, I mean, you know, I've got one girl in New Jersey and she's it, you know? I mean, how do I get her built up and get her going, building her own team? And I mean, I guess I could go out there and do a launch party for her, but that would be,
It's really not about you.
yeah.
Because you're only going to be able to help her as far as she's going to let you.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's the truth about anything. If you've ever had someone you had high hopes for, if you've ever, you know, hoped for something, really you cannot help someone past what they're going to allow. And it's about them. So you're going to provide the training,
And that, all
you're
that
going to
stuff
provide
out
the
there,
teaching,
yeah.
but really they're going to have to do it. I live 2 hours from Calla, which is, it should have been just across the world, you know? I mean, you guys know that. It's hard to get somewhere that's 20 minutes away, let alone 2. And so when I started, there was no one. There was no one there, and by the way, there were no toys. I mean, when I started this, there was not one Facebook group, there was not a jump drive, there was not videos, there was nothing, and we just had to do it. It was a lot of work because on a 3-way call, you were going over every product. It was like a 30, 45-minute thing every time. Now that you can go to Crazy for Zing, it's a 10-minute 3-way call, you know? I mean, it's so much, it's just awesome what everybody has collectively come together to do. But for me, I just train them the same as everybody else, you know? And you guys have this awesome thing with the camera, and I think we probably need to get into this 21st century and do some stuff like that a little bit more on our Tuesday night events, or, you know, our little training pieces and stuff like that. But you just set up, I just think as long as you're planning and you set up the time, maybe you say, you know, you're not here to come to our event every Tuesday, so why don't you and I talk every Tuesday at 4 o'clock, and I'll get you up to speed about what's going on. And then it's on them. You know, if she wants it, you say you call me every Tuesday at 4 o'clock. If she doesn't call, then she doesn't call.
Right.
You know, and then honestly, as hard as it is, because I have tried to just drag people along that I love, or, you know, I just know they can be amazing, but it's going to suck so much of your time that if you just continue to teach everybody, the people who want it are the ones that are calling you. I mean, the people who want it are the ones that are showing up, the people who want it, and then it's easy because you've prepared and they have come, you know, to learn it. So I do have lots of out-of-town stuff, but we all just, you know, again, do our conference calls and stuff like that, and they just plug in. And sometimes, I mean, I definitely had like the work ethic, I guess, in the beginning. I mean, I was memorizing everything, I was learning everything I could, I was writing everything down, I was practicing, but I didn't have belief at all in myself. And that is something I tell Kyle all the time. Literally, I did not have any belief in me. And so when we would talk, it was more geared towards Lacey. You can do this. You're capable. It's going to be fine. And we're going to get into struggles here, but I need you to know that the first 3 months, I went to party after party after party after party that I would host, and no one showed up for months. And somebody would tell me they were coming, and I'd sit there in the restaurant and wait, and nobody would show up. And I would go home, and Chris would say, how was it? And I was like, well, nobody was there again, but the tacos were great. And, you know, and my sister started coming because I got so disappointed and just down and out. I would cry every single Tuesday, even on the way there, because I think I'm taking time away from my family. I'm going to go sit here again by myself. So my sister started coming, and we would eat dinner together, and we would come. And it wasn't until about the third, I mean, and maybe once in a great while, somebody would show up, and I'd be so excited, and they'd leave, and they'd, you know, oh, sorry, it's too expensive, I'm not ready to start, or whatever. And it just wasn't really going a whole lot for me, you know, with parties and stuff, but I just kept knowing that it was consistency, it was consistency, it was consistency. And, you know, I did sign a few people up, obviously, in those 3 months other ways, like on Facebook, I talked to people or whatever, but I just kept thinking, this is how I learned it, and I just know this is going to work. And there were all kinds of disappointments, and my mother-in-law, you know, not liking it, returning it, and all of this stuff. But on the 3rd month, this is the greatest story, and it's kind of like Kelly's, I guess, you know, with Troy, is Kara. Kara, I knew through my business, the Sugar Fairy, with the cake pops and everything. And she sent me a message, and she's like, well, this is cool. You sell me cake during the day and weight loss products at night. I was like, are you calling me smart? Because this is the best business thing I've ever done, I think, you know. I'm going to keep both businesses going here. And anyway, so she's like, well, what is it? And I sent her a sample, you know, and she sends me a message and says she never got it. So I'm like, okay. So I sent her another sample, then she sends me a message, it got crushed in the mail. That was before I knew that happened. And then I said, why don't I just bring it to your house? You know, we're on try number 3 here. This girl's starting to annoy me. I don't really think she wants this stuff. And I show up and I give it to her mom at the door, and I'm like, can you make sure that she gets this? Because this is the 3rd try, you know. And I just counted her as lost because it was just, you know, whatever. Well, then she does get it, and she felt great. She calls me, but she's like, now my husband buys supplements all the time at Supplement Giant. He's got lots of questions, and I'm new. Remember, 3 months in, I'm like, okay, just send them to me, and I'll help get answers for him. Oh my word. Floodgates open, and Brian is drilling me. Every ingredient, everything about the shake. I'm having to call corporate. I'm like a mess trying to call everybody I know to try to help me answer these questions, and I'm actually hoping she loses my number. You know, like, because I was like, oh gosh, this is too hard. I don't even care. What am I doing here? Why am I even doing this? This is not enjoyable and everything. And so I finally, for some reason, we kept trying to get together for lunch. And finally I said, you know what, I'm having this party tonight, why I invited her, because, you know, I'm thinking, no one ever comes. But I told her about this Tuesday night event, and she said, oh, okay, well, I don't know if I'll be able to make it, and I knew what that meant. And then I was going to sit there that night by myself. And she came, and she brought her mom and her sister. No, her mom and her friend, who's a nurse. And not only did she buy it that night, I just said, well, you might as well get a kit for your husband. He's into supplements, and then you might as well pay the $14 because you're already getting 2 kids. It's like in our company, and then if you ever saw anyone who liked it, she's like, oh, what the heck? We spend a couple $100 every month at GNC, and I don't get paid to tell anyone about that. I mean, but really, like, whatever. And then fast forward, she was the first person to do all 3 extreme buildings. You know, so wow. I mean, if I would have quit at any point because I was disappointed that no one was showing up to the meeting, no one was showing up to the meeting, no one was showing up to the meeting, then I would have never had that to invite her to. You know, so it's amazing that most of this is about struggles, and it's just how much pain tolerance can you handle. That's if you're going to be successful. I mean, you're only going to be successful as much pain as you can tolerate. And as soon as you get too much pain, you can't tolerate it, then you're going to step back, you're going to quit, you're going to pull back, you're not going to do the things you know you should be doing. And then that's what's going to make you get stuck, you know?
And I'm going to say that, you know, for Dusty and to do everything that he does too, and then, you know, Ashley, who's my immediate upline and got me started and whatever, that, you know, that is the thing, is that, and even just coming here today, you know, I was so down I couldn't come last night, and I literally felt like a puppy that had lost its owner from not going last night. You know, that it literally just killed me that I couldn't go. And then to come here today and to be able to say about, you know, the girl with the sore throat and blah, blah, blah. You know, I was just so down last night. And then you come to these things and you come and I get to hear, even if I take, like you said, just one thing, the one thing about you just now saying, you know, that, oh my gosh, you know, if I could, blah, blah, blah. And that's what this group is so great about too, and Dusty and all, is that we do empower each other. And I would never expect Dusty or Ashley to do my work for me, you know, that I know that whatever, but it's also nice to know that when I am feeling down, that, you know, that I can come to this, or Ashley can say to me, or Dusty or whatever, that, you know what, just keep on going, you know, we've all been there. You know, Melanie said to me on the way here today, you know, it's nice to know that someone that's been in this longer than me is still that has a problem too, whatever. So, you know, I do like that, and I like being able to grow and learn more or whatever. But I just want you to know that, you know, that's kind of where I think a lot of us have been at and whatever. And I'm finally just building my team after a year, and one of them is listening today, and I want her to know too, and she knows who she is, that you know, to not give up and to keep going, because I know how bad she wants this, because she's the person that I never had to say something to more than once, and I'm actually learning things from her too, and she's my downline.
Yep.
So.
Yep. Well, that's a perfect segue, and if you don't mind, this is not impersonal, but I wrote this out because it's all about struggles, and I don't really want to mess it up and just talk. And so, I mean, I wrote it, it's from my heart, but I want you guys to see, because it's something we don't talk about. And so I want to do this little activity here that you're going to have to stand up and sit down, and then I'm going to read from this paper just for a few minutes to close out, if that's good, unless you had something else. Okay. So don't hit each other, because you're going to get up and sit down a lot, but we don't talk about rank advancements all the time, right? Highlights and attaboys online, and that's all important stuff. But something that we don't ever talk about is struggles, but I know that we all have them. I don't know if you listened, I was the training call person for last week, I think. If you didn't listen to that Thursday night, this is a lot of the same stuff, but it's very powerful because we all go through those things, but we never talk about it. So I want you to stand up if you've ever had a party that nobody showed up. Okay, or you can sit down again. And now I want you to stand up if you've shared on Facebook or something and posted and talked about it, and it seems like nobody's listening or nobody's interested. Okay, that's good. Thank you. You can sit down. How about, has anyone ever had someone that says this isn't working, I want to return it, I don't like this stuff? Okay, very good. The next one is, and this one's hard, but it's every one of these has happened to me, by the way, so I won't stand up and sit down, but you might have some friends who literally can't handle your success or change and no longer are your friends. That's really hard. Okay, good. Yeah, family, friends. Anybody in here, heaven forbid, ever been stuck in their points or even slid backwards?
Stuck.
Okay, very good. What I really want you to get from that is obviously not a negative Nelly moment, but I think we all feel alone when those things happen. We start to feel embarrassed, and I've had people on my team that literally are so discouraged that they hate recognition at events because they say, I shouldn't be standing up because it says director, but that's not where my points are. Neither am I. You know? And I hate that. I hate that in the very sense that we're trying to encourage people, it causes people discouragement. And I just want you to know that struggles, we all have them. We all have struggles. And so this is what I'm going to read to you because really this has been such a thing lately that I just feel is a theme. And I believe when something's repeated over and over, we should pay attention and listen to it. And so it's normal. And I'm a God girl, so I don't mean to offend anyone. But even in the Bible, all the people that are in the Bible go through the hardest times. And all those main characters, just because I'm a Christian doesn't mean it's easier. It means it's harder, actually. And all of those characters have the most struggles. So it's not if you're going to have a hard time, but when it's going to happen and how are you going to handle it? Will you walk through it and let God walk you through it and teach you what he wants to teach you? Are you going to give it to him? Are you going to spend time figuring it out, praying, and start to see the joy in it and starting to embrace what he's going to show you? And that way you can overflow instead of get burnt out. The more we figure out that these struggles are learning opportunities and things that will help us grow and things that will help us change, then the less resistant we are to it, because it's going to happen. So what I like to do is change the question. So now you're going to stand up if you've ever changed one person's life. Okay? Now you can sit down. Have there ever been a moment that you were so excited and you feel like you blessed someone or had just joy that you've never felt before in this? Okay, very good. Have you ever helped anyone on this journey when it was tough for them and they somehow thanked you later? What I want you to ask yourself, was that worth it? Right? Was that worth it? Because what if you would have quit because it was hard? And even more, which I've said before, you have to keep up the fight. Because what if the person who shared with you quit before they told you? What if it was the moment before they were going to see you that they decided all those hard things that we stood up the first time were too much for them, and they just decided it wasn't worth it? What you have to keep in mind, like my husband reminded me that day, was it's all about one life. It's all about one person that you change, and you can do it. And you will never fail at this unless you quit. But everything else is just a learning opportunity and one more life that you can change. So it's worth it. All the hard times, all those struggles, we've all been there, we've all done that. And we sure are thankful, I hope, all of you are, that the person who shared with you, who stood up to, who has the same struggles, didn't quit. And I truly believe that you alone have certain people that will never hear about this unless they hear it from you. And so if you decide to quit, then there are so many people that you would have the opportunity to bless. And so which do you give your energy to? The struggles that you're going to face and the frustrations, and we're all going to have them. Or do you say, I have one more carry? I think I said that last night. Did we talk about that? Yeah, like every time I get down, I think about how one of my best friends for 12 years was staring out of a window and couldn't move because she had such terrible migraines. And all because we took a chance together and we both said yes, and we said, you know what, it's not even really a risk, but you try this, and if it doesn't work, I'll help you return it. Her husband had lost his job. She had no money, none. But she just decided that what her life was worth, she had to give it a chance. And now, 2.5 years later, her whole life is different, and her life story was never about weight loss. But now she can, you know, be in her kid's life, she can drive a car. I mean, these are, and you guys all have that, or if you haven't experienced that, there is a carry out there for you. And then when you find them, there's another one, you know, and there's opportunities, and then more opportunities. But if you decide that the struggles outweigh, you know, the blessings in this journey, then you're not going to be sharing. And you might never walk away, but you're not really doing what you're called to do. You're not really sharing with that joy, and you really have to dig deep, and those hard times are going to come. And so I just pray for things that are humanly impossible, and I know that means that the blessings are going to be even bigger. And I want you all to make your $1 million. You can move out of Michigan where it's cold. And I can come visit you in, you know, wherever you want to go that's nice and warm. But the only other thing that one day in my devotion I thought was amazing is many, many times I would pray, please show me opportunities. Please bring me somebody who wants this. Please do this. And it felt like I was getting no answers. And a couple things in that. Number one, sometimes we have to stop praying, get up and go. We have to start acting. You know, prepare like it's all up to me and pray like it's all up to him, right? Because that's one thing. But the other thing is, a lot of times I was praying for things I already had. When I'm praying for an opportunity, but there are 2,000 people in my Facebook, and I haven't actually like individually heartfelt reached out to them, I'm praying for something that's sitting in front of me. The answer was already there. So I can't get something, you know, that I already have. I can't see something that's already there. And so it has to be stuff that's so crazy and so specific, just like when we make our goals, that you'll start seeing that happen, you know. But I just thought, oh my gosh, how many of my friends I've talked to, they're like, oh, I've tried this. Angie Delamore, her son has leukemia, and she is a precious friend of mine. And she's been in this business for 2 years, and she's never quit, and it hasn't been easy. And if anybody has a why that I would love to see it come to pass, it's her. For her to be home with her son and not have to go to work. She's a nurse. I mean, there's nothing greater than to feel that. And I kept thinking, why? You know, this is something that's so important. I want to see her achieve. But she never quit. She got frustrated. She wasn't sure where her place was and what her purpose was, just like everybody else. But a few weeks ago, when we had our January 24th meeting, the night before that, we went to Oklahoma City. So it's only 3 hours away, and a carload went. She went, and Deanna and Danielle went with me, and we were all in the car, and we got to talking about this. And so I was just telling about that day in my devotion and what it said. And she was sitting back there in the very back with JC. He came with us because they have lived in Oklahoma before. And so before we got out of the car, she said, you know what, that was an aha moment for me. You know, I've just been